Focus. Okay, so hello friends. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Battletech universe, and in particular, Battletech Novel Land, and then these three books. These encompass and then wrap up completely the FedCom Civil War storyline, which takes place at the very end of the Battletech Classic universe, I suppose you could say. The Battletech Classic time era is completed by the FedCom Civil War story, and that's encompassed in these three books. Okay, so what I will say is, personally, when I got into this, I started reading Battletech Classic novels with Twilight of the Clan series. I very much enjoyed it. I knew about the idea of, what the clans were in this universe because I played MechWarrior 2, the video game, back in the day. So I knew about, the existence of clans. I knew about the, Clan Jade Falcon, Clan Wolf. I knew that they had warred against each other. I didn't know, the backstory of the Trial of Refusal, but I knew that it existed. I played MechWarrior 4, so I knew a little bit about the Inner Sphere and some of the relevant, houses and rulers in the Inner Sphere, but Twilight of the Clan series was my introduction into the Battletech universe, in depth. And then after I read Twilight of the Clans, I bounced around a little bit. I'll pop up on the screen here some of the earlier books that I read, and then I jumped into this, the FedCom Civil War. So a critique that I'll have right off the bat is that this book, which accumulates the entire Battletech Classic storyline, and accumulates obviously the FedCom Civil War story, this should have been 2 books. It feels like this author was artificially limited. They probably contracted him for 3 books, each being, 300 pages. And that really hamstringed this, because this felt like it should have been 2 books. The best way I can describe it is that a lot of things are going on towards the end. So from half of this, and then definitely this whole book, things are taking place with gaps and holes, and at least I was wondering, why does it seem like Victor is all of a sudden, earlier he was an extreme underdog. It seemed silly that he was starting this rebellion. How come now it's sort of the 2 sides of the war are evenly matched, and then oh gee, how is all of a sudden Katrina losing? It just felt like a lot of holes were being left in the story. It also felt like Katrina Steiner was completely ignored, basically. You would think in the downfall of Katrina Steiner, who was running basically the Federated Commonwealth, the fusion of the Loren Alliance and the Federated Sons, that's a big deal. We're gonna basically break in half the Federated Commonwealth, and then the ruler of the Federated Commonwealth is coming to an end. You would think you would want to hear more about that. How is that character handling the situation? What changes are taking place in her personality and her behavior? I couldn't help but think about the movie Downfall. It portrays Hitler at the end of World War II. At the very, very end, when Hitler was just obviously losing the war. Russia was on one side, the Soviet Union, and then America was on the other side, and he was just he totally only had a few days to live, and it was very interesting to see psychologically how he might be handling it, how he's interpreting events, and that was missing in this book for Katrina Steiner. You would want to know more. For instance, her number 2 man, her intelligence agent, who was like doubling as her senior advisor, you know, top cabinet member, if you will. He goes missing. I won't spoil it, but a development takes place with that character. And it would be very interesting to see how Katrina would react to that taking place. That was an instance where a hole was left in the story. And it sort of just felt, not so much in the earlier book, or in this one really, but this book, it felt like the story was being told in Morse code. Like, dots and dashes of story were being presented, but it didn't feel continuous. It didn't feel like you're getting everything, which is, I guess, cool because it leaves a lot of room open for, you know, more books to be written. Somebody could definitely just come in and fill the gaps in. You know, make a book about, you know, Endgame solely from the perspective of Katrina Steiner as she has 6 months left ruling the FedCom. Like, that would be pretty cool. There's also plot lines that have been left opened. So, for instance, at the end of this book, it's revealed, or it might be this book, it's revealed that the ruler of the Free Worlds League, Thomas Merrick, I won't go into a spoiler, but a massive bombshell is dropped involving him and the Word of Blake faction. That's not known. So they dropped this bombshell, and basically only the reader knows about it. None of the other main characters know about this. So, like, that would be an interesting thread to pick up at some point. You know, maybe fan fiction, or maybe if they ever decide to revisit this, you know, classic Battletech period. Yeah, it felt like there was a lot that could have been expounded upon, but wasn't. And that's not bad. It's just, I suppose, a limitation of the format. You know, these are mass market paperbacks. You know, you kind of can't have a 500-page book, and if they only want a contract for 3 books, I guess you're kind of screwed. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you're a Battletech fan. If you played the video games, for sure read the novels. The backstories are really cool. They're written well. This is a really good author. Next, I'm probably gonna check out some of the earlier Michael Stackpole books, and then I also want to check out I forget what it's called, but it's a 3-book series on early Jade Falcon. Yeah, so I would recommend reading these books, and basically, I haven't read a Battletech novel that I didn't enjoy. So, like, this is a really good author, along with Michael Stackpole. But even the ones where they were written by some of the more obscure Battletech authors, I enjoyed all of them, and I would recommend this universe to anybody who is into science fiction or fantasy. It's definitely pretty cool.